I am TravyDead, and I made this video for you. Hopefully it's good for you and provides some nice little nuggets of information that make your gaming life better. Let's go. So, the Hollowed Lair is one of the available nightfalls this week, and I figured that I would just share this information with you because I think it's helpful. I think it's useful. You can let me know. First of all, just so you know, on my nightfall card, what I've got going on here is I have Solar Singe on and I have Momentum on. You don't need to have these on if you don't want. Momentum just kind of goes into the speed running aspect of this, where your regeneration is faster while you're sprinting, but it's not active while you're motionless. So you have to keep moving, but that's okay because that's what this whole thing is about. And then Solar Singe, this can be really whatever singe that you personally want, or it can be no singe. I just like Solar Singe because I have 1,000 voices. Also, another thing I want to specify really quick is you don't need to have 1,000 voices to do this. You can use whatever you want. This part isn't going to matter as much, but I will explain this part briefly in a moment. But this is something I want to show you. I just thought about this randomly today. I thought about the obelisk mods, and I thought, is there like a combo I could put together that's helpful? Because I remembered hearing about this protective light perk that says while you're charged with light, you gain significant damage resistance against combatants when your shields are destroyed. When you're speedrunning, you're not fighting a bunch of enemies unless you have to, and so that means a lot of the time you're taking a lot of damage, but it's always such a bummer when you die, or someone from your team dies during your speed run, because that slows you down and it makes you just be like, man, if only I would have killed some of these people, or it was just more powerful. But protective light lets you do that. It lets you be more powerful. Super handy. You could literally stop right there if you want. You could do that and you're fine. But then I was exploring and I found something even better, okay? The striking light mod. So it says while charged with light, blah blah blah. We don't care about that. We care about the secondary perk down at the bottom. Gain damage resistance against non-guardian enemies while sprinting. We're gonna be sprinting. It's super awesome. You do have to have another arc mod active in your mod slots over here in order to make that perk active on striking light. So just keep that in mind. And so we're doing that. So we're sprinting, we're getting damage resistance, we have momentum on, which is going to regenerate our shields faster while we're sprinting, and we have protective light for if our shields do break, we're gonna have some damage resistance, which is very cool. But in order for this to work, we have to have something that gives us the light to be charged with. So a lot of people will just use the taking charge perk, which is great because you're gonna, like, masterwork weapons and stuff, you're gonna be creating orbs of light, and that's a pretty easy way to do it. But there's this quick charge one where you become charged with light by rapidly defeating multiple enemies with fusion rifles or shotguns, and that pairs perfectly with the heavy-handed obelisk mod, where its secondary perk down there at the bottom says while surrounded by multiple enemies, defeating them with fusions, shotguns, sidearms, submachine guns adds ammo to your reserves for that weapon. And so what we were doing is we were using Perfect Paradox in the top with Demolish Swashbuckler. It really can be whatever you want. And then I was using this really awesome Dream Breaker that I like that has auto-loading holster as well. It also has enhanced battery for a bigger mag size, and the Disruption Break is just a bonus, in my opinion. But being able to just use Dream Breaker a bunch, get a bunch of ammo, switch over to Perfect Paradox, this auto-reloads, and this is just awesome. The other thing in this, if you're a warlock, transverse of steps is just insane. You sprint faster, and it reloads your weapon. So basically, this auto reloads for me. So all I do is I switch to my shotgun. I'm running, getting reloaded. I get heavy ammo. I don't have to manually reload my 1,000 voices. Super easy. With Titans, you could use the Dune Marchers for increased sprint speed. For Hunters, you could use Stompies if you want. There's lots of different exotics that you could use to help you in the speedrun. But this is my personal recommendation. It also overall would be helpful for you to have at least one warlock on your team with top tree Dawnblade, just because Icarus Dash allows enhanced speedy movement, and you can really get going. And there are some certain parts you're gonna see in some of this gameplay when we have to fight the big, huge Scorn ogreish type thing. When the two plates are almost done being brought down, try to have your warlock be up against that jail wall, because if you time it right, and it's not even too hard to time, you can burst right through that, get on the other side of that blue barrier before it drops down, and then have that warlock just dump all of their heavy ammo into the Scorn Ogre before he passes through to fight your other two teammates. Now, during this part, it is very important for me to mention that if you are trying to speedrun this hard, you are going to want your other two teammates to stay behind, because you do have to kill that ogre. So they're going to stay behind and finish off the ogre while your warlock goes and gets ahead a little bit. But I'm going to point out some other spots in here where we were going too fast, I guess, and the game was glitching out and made it so we had to run back to regain these checkpoints in order to continue moving forward. So I'm going to show you some of those spots in here. During the spider tank fight, you have to make sure that like one person stays behind for just a second, because we kept running into an issue where like we would kill the spider tank, all three of us instantly run out, we'd get up to the next area and we couldn't move, and there wasn't any enemies spawning, and it showed that we needed to go back there. And then once we went back there, then it reloaded the checkpoint again, and then we were able to move forward. So you want to make sure somebody stays back, waits for a second, there's some dialogue that happens, and then you'll hear that little sound effect that lets you know that you've got the checkpoint, and then the person who's behind can go and catch up with the other two teammates who are further along. Also, make sure that in the room just before the spider fight, make sure you're just getting onto the plates as fast as possible. And when you're in the Scorn Ogre room, make sure you got teammates going to both plates at the same time, so that you're getting those plates down as fast as possible, because some of those are the #1 things that are going to slow you down. Also, don't forget that your shield is not going to recharge while you're standing still if you have momentum on. So while you're on those plates, if you're shooting some enemies for a little bit and you're taking some damage, just start sprinting around, and that you'll also get that extra damage resistance from the uncatchable perk that is at the bottom of this Striker's Light mod. Once the Scorn Ogre is dead, you just make sure you get the little checkpoint at the beginning of the bridge where the boss is going to spawn on the other side, just for a brief second. I've had some hiccups where I got all the way to the boss room and it wanted me to be at that area in order for it to progress us. Then obviously you get into the boss room, it teleports your teammates in there. We were consistently getting to the boss about 4.5 minutes. And not even like necessarily trying our super sweatiest, super hardest. Like, we were just going pretty fast, just being efficient. We knew our roles and we were doing them. And then the boss fight takes, a couple minutes because of his immune phases. If you have somebody with 1,000 voices with the solar singe, usually after the first immune phase, the one shot from the 1,000 voices should put him into the immune phase, and so your other teammates can just be using all of their heavy ammo to slay ads. Both of my other teammates were using heavy machine guns, just because that's really super effective at killing ads and it gets it done fast. We did have one tetherer hunter on our team to make the ad wave spawn super fast. But really just make sure, like, you can alternate. It doesn't really matter what class you are. Just make sure you're alternating your supers during those areas to just clear the ads, because you're never really going to be using your super to do damage to the boss. And that's basically it. 2 more things. One, I live stream on Twitch, and I obviously upload videos here on YouTube, so you can follow me wherever you want. I'm on other social places as well. Leave a comment below if you're going to use some of this, or what loadouts you used, or if you found some other ways to optimize speedrunning this. I really hope that you guys get your insane Mindbenders. Hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully it's helpful. And I'll see you next time. It is so weird talking into a mic and saying my own name and saying, hey, it's TravyDead, I'm TravyDead, something like that. But if I don't say that, then you're just gonna have to be able to read that my channel says it's TravyDead to know. So what am I supposed to do? I have to figure out something to say. I have to figure something out. Oh.